Happy birthday to me. Well, today isn't just my birthday, but it also marks 20 years since I first picked up a certain infamous video game. Let me tell you a little story. When I turned 9, instead of opening all my presents in the living room like usual, my dad took me in the car to the local Debenhams, a department store that mainly sold clothes and makeup, which probably doesn't sound like a very exciting birthday for a 9-year-old, but there was also a video game shop inside this store called, well, Game. Very original name. Before we got there, my dad told me to close my eyes because he had a surprise for me, so he took me inside the shop, and when he said I could open my eyes, I found myself staring at a very special game. Samurai Jack! Yeah, this was my big birthday present that year. I was a big fan of Samurai Jack at the time, and my dad thought I would love this cheap video game adaptation where all you do is slash up robots. I still kind of like it. But when my dad took me to the counter to buy the game, I noticed a sign on the desk with a special offer. Get the Simpsons hit and run for just $9.99 with any purchase. I immediately begged my dad to get me this game as well, and thankfully, he did. It was one of his better decisions. So for that birthday, I ended up getting 2 games that year, and while I played them both to death, it was the Simpsons hit and run that just consumed my childhood. I've always been a big fan of the Simpsons, and some of you might recall when I talked about all those VHS tapes, but the video games on the PlayStation 2 were a huge part of my youth as well. My cousin had one called Road Rage, which was basically just a rip-off of Crazy Taxi, the only arcade game I've ever beaten, so of course we played that all the time. It's an okay game, but a bit on the slippery side. And then there was The Simpsons Skateboarding, a rip-off of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, one of my all-time favourite game series, which is virtually unplayable. I mean, just look at this. The controls don't even function. Every time I play it, it hurts. This game is like a big onion. It makes me want to cry. But fortunately, the third time was the charm, and when Hit and Run was released in 2003, it quickly became the most popular Simpsons game, even though I didn't get it until 2005. And yeah, I know this game has probably been talked about to exhaustion already, but I just wanted to give my tiny take on it, so let's get playing. The game was developed by Radical Entertainment.
Oh, Radical!
Originally as a sequel to Road Rage, but it eventually morphed into its own thing. Even watching these opening logos is kind of nostalgic to me. Like, I never would have guessed that Fox's video game division was right on the back of their film division. How fascinating. The opening movie doesn't really explain too much about the story, but it does show off those shiny 3D models of The Simpsons. Yeah, 2D animated shows never really translated to the PS2 era very well, and while I'm sure they did their best, the characters do end up looking a bit weird. I have to say though, great menu. This brings back a lot of memories for me. The theme actually changes depending on certain days of the year as well. I got a pretty good surprise when I saw this one Halloween. So, the first level has you starting off as Homer Simpson looking for a new drink called Buzz Cola, and you actually get the freedom to run around Springfield and explore, which, as a kid, was just mind-blowing to experience. This was worth the price alone just to get in Homer's car and drive around smashing into things. But it's not quite a full free-roaming experience, since every level is more or less one big looping road, so you're always going in one direction. Still, the whole level is filled with Simpsons characters, references, and all the authentic voices and gags from pretty much every season in the show up until this point.
Homie, somebody ate every dessert in the house.
Oh, must have been one of our kids. Probably Milhouse.
It's all instantly recognizable, and just fun to play. Homer starts with his classic family sedan, which is tough, but not invincible. When you crash into things, your car takes damage, so you need to pick up wrenches along the way to heal it. If you crash too much, your car blows up, and you have to walk back home. Or just get into the smoking wreckage, and drive at minus 10 miles an hour. That's funny. Not only can you drive Homer's car, but you can actually pick up any car in the street. Yep, just walk up to it and you can get in. I guess Homer isn't technically a carjacker though, since the driver is still there, and Homer is just riding along in the passenger seat. Maybe he only politely threatens the drivers instead. Now, all this fun with cars and crime makes it pretty clear that this is just a clone of the Grand Theft Auto games. Yeah, it's Grand Theft Simpsons. But in this game's defense, I think we kind of needed a GTA for the younger generation. You see, when I was a kid, I was never really interested in GTA. I mean, first of all, I was too young to play it. Not that my parents would have stopped me or anything, but even so, I couldn't really relate to playing as some random criminal driving around. It just didn't grab me. But driving around as Homer Simpson, or swinging through the city as Spider-Man, that was right up my street. So give me one of these colourful clones any day. Now, much like GTA's Wanted level, if Homer causes too much carnage out there, you'll fill up the hit and run meter, and the police will come and chase you down. I guess they had to cram that title into the game somehow, eh? These guys are a real pain to dodge, and ironically, they drive way more dangerous than anything I've done in this game. I always used to cheat by ducking into a building to kill the meter. Actually, in the manual, it mentions you can do this, so I guess it technically isn't a cheat. If the cops catch you, you get fined 50 coins. Yeah, coins. That's the currency in this game, like it's Super Mario or something. You get coins by smashing stuff up, or busting open boxes and Buzz Cola vending machines. I always thought it was a shame that you couldn't actually get a drink from these things. You could use the coins you've collected to buy special outfits from the various shops around town, or even pick up a couple new cars from Old Gil. But don't get too tempted just yet, you're gonna need to save your pennies for later on. Luckily, another way you can earn coins is by destroying these flying wasp cameras that are hidden all over town. Why are these things spying on you? Well, we'll get into that soon enough. There are 20 of them in each level, and you have to bash them with a flying Chuck Norris kick. It feels great to smack them out of the air, especially when they zap you and steal some of your hard-earned coins. You know, I got stung by a wasp once, and it hurt. There's that story. Now, maybe it's just me, but there's something very addictive about picking up all these coins. It's insanely satisfying to crack open those boxes and grab yourself some loot, and I think it's just part of my OCD that I feel this strange desire to collect everything. Old PS2 games like this feed my brain that way. I even have this weird routine where I have to do everything else in the level before I tackle the actual story missions. But in this case, maybe that actually helps a bit with explaining more about how the game works. One fun aspect about each level is all the gags. They're basically just buttons you can press to make something funny happen, usually a reference to past episodes of the show. I used to love finding all these. The only real downside is there's no actual reward for getting them all. It would be nice if they gave you some extra coins, or even unlockable clips from the episodes they're based on, just as a bonus. Every level is also full of these things called collector cards. There are 7 of them hidden away in secret areas, and each one has some fun info about some famous items from the show's history. You can look them up in your card collection, and even read some funny quotes, if you have the patience to wait for all that text to scroll. Come on, I want to see the funny! Now, here there is a bonus, because if you pick up all 7 cards in each level, you can unlock a bonus minigame in the menu. It's just a basic top-down race with miniature versions of the levels, but you can actually play it with up to 4 players if you have a PlayStation multi-tap. Remember that thing? It looks like a boomerang for gamers! Speaking of races, each level also features 3 special race challenges. You have to talk to Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph, who all work for the DMV for some reason.
Patty and Selma won't give me a license to ride a bike without safety wheels. Unless I run the driving tests.
Yeah, I don't get it. Every race offers a different challenge. Milhouse's races are time trials where you have to compete against the clock, Nelson has a circuit race where you have to beat other drivers in laps, and Ralph's is more like one big race across town. One thing I noticed about these races is they always put you up against the character you play as in the next level. Like here it's Bart, who obviously has a better, faster car, so it's just a big tease, like, nah, you can't drive this car yet. This race really made me hate Bart. I like how they put tyres and barriers around the level to make it look official though, that's okay. If you beat all 3 races, you unlock a bonus car, in this case the Electaurus, so there really is a lot on offer here. There's also a special wager race where you can gamble your hard-earned coins and an extended time trial. You basically have to lap the entire level, and if you do it in time, you get a big payout. But who wants to do that? Just let me smash stuff instead. You can also find a secret car in each level, which usually has a ridiculous amount of speed, like this crazy rocket car. I can barely drive it for more than 2 minutes without exploding into a fiery wreck. It's awesome. There's also a bonus mission in each level where you have to help out one of the townspeople. Here it's Cletus, who makes you collect cardboard tubes, don't ask me why, and pick up some tomatoes for him. If you do that, you can call him using the phone booths around the level, and he'll come pick you up in his truck, which no one would actually want to do because it drives like a rusty old clunker. See, that's why these phone booths are useful. Use them to call your good cars. Oh, and with all these unlockables, make sure you don't forget to save. Yeah, this game doesn't actually autosave your progress like you think it would, so you have to do it manually through the pause menu. I found that out the hard way. And I like how the memory card icon is the 3-eyed fish. You know I had a water fountain of that thing when I was 8? Ah, classic Simpsons merch. So yeah, this game is really bursting with content. More content than the original game demos anyway. I have a demo of this game that came with a disc from the official PS2 magazine, and it really is laughable. For a start, it barely lets you drive anywhere. You only get maybe a third of the map, and anytime you try to drive further, it just respawns you back the way you came from with a stern warning. I used to spend hours trying to break this, but no luck. Hardly any of the game features work, and when you beat the first mission, it's over! Wow, what a great way to show off all the cool stuff in your new game. There's also another demo for the PC that came with a newspaper promotion, which, to be fair, does let you explore the entire first level, but it only gives you the first 3 missions, and for some reason, the whole game crashes whenever you try to enter Mr. Burns' house. Weird. You know, I tried putting this disc into my PS2 one night to see if it would work, and I ended up getting my first taste of that hellish error screen, so I ran out of the room screaming. I still have PTSD from it. Well, I think I've rambled enough, so let's dive into the story missions. This level plays out more or less like a lazy day for Homer. The tutorial mission just has you going to the Quickie Mart, which is a fun location all by itself. There's so much stuff to play around with in here, and even a joke arcade game. Too bad you can't actually play it. Most of the early missions just have you doing chores, like finding missing stuff against the clock for stupid Flanders, or giving Lisa her science project. This is where you get your first taste of a race against Principal Skinner, so you'd better start learning those shortcuts by smashing that Krusty glass. Yeah, take that, Krusty. One mission has you fighting Smithers to get to work on time, but to face him, you have to buy the Plow King from Barney. You just have to smash his car until he blows up, which would probably get Homer fired anyway, but hey, it's a video game. Visiting Homer's workstation is pretty fun, and he messes his job prospects up even further by smashing all the generators. This is more like a platforming mission where you have to jump across stuff, and am I the only one who thinks those things look like faces? Later on, Homer discovers a suspicious black van spying on the house, and he has to follow it. This didn't start well for me. Ooh, after that, Homer should be jam right now. The van was getting away, so I had to quickly commandeer another vehicle. But turns out this van is really slow, so I actually had time to overtake the van, get out, call up my faster car, and still had time to catch up with it again. So much for a speedy getaway. The van leads to Mr. Burns' house, so Homer thinks he's responsible for all the snooping, but Marge is more interested in smashing up a video game truck instead. Yeah, Marge thinks video games are too violent, so she decides to be even more violent by destroying this poor guy's truck. The subtext is staggering.
If only kids would play more video games about sharing.
Finally, Homer has to race Smithers again. It's not that difficult as long as you know all the shortcuts and don't drive straight into the burning tire fire like me. But if you win, it turns out those mysterious vehicles were only pizza vans?
What? They were only pizza vans?
Yeah, this game's plot logic is a bit on the loose side. Level 2 sends you to a whole new area with Bart. This is more like downtown Springfield, and Bart is skipping school to buy a new video game. Bart drives his honor roller, which is bizarre since I believe that was just a soapbox car. Who put an engine in this thing? Weirdness aside, I love this map, and the music just rocks. Another game with a fantastic soundtrack. It makes me feel like a rebel driving around looking for trouble. I used to spend hours racing around on the freeways, making up my own stories in my head, like Bart's on the run or something. I don't know, that's really stupid. Since Bart is playing truant, the first mission has you trying to escape Principal Skinner. You just have to get far away enough from him to empty the meter. It's not that difficult if you know the shortcuts, like cutting through the train yard, but since Marge destroyed all the games in level 1, Bart decides to start collecting fireworks instead. Don't ask me to explain the logic behind that. You have to pick up some fireworks from Moe's, and I have no idea why, but I always like this grimy bar. Maybe it's just the game machines off to the side, I don't know. I was always on that love tester. It's kind of a shame you can't actually play a pool minigame though. Later on you have to help Comic Book Guy by racing a nerd to the coffee shop, but apparently this is the most sociopathic nerd ever, since he has absolutely no respect for the road. It's pretty annoying. Eventually you have to help Professor Frink out by finding parts for a giant robot called Truckosaurus. The plot has definitely taken a turn here, hasn't it? First you need to find an old radio by following this pizza van, who, despite driving like a maniac, is still really slow. Once again I had time to overtake him and just park up waiting for him to reach me. The van leads you to Snake, who you have to race to get the radio. Next you need a satellite dish, so Professor Frink can get Sky 1 and watch The Simpsons, I guess. Apparently, Cletus has one, but first you have to pick up some roadkill in his clunker of a truck. I always hated this mission as a kid. This might be one of the worst cars in the game. It's like driving through thick mud. The last thing you need is a blender, obviously the essential ingredient for all robot dinosaurs. Dr. Nick will give you one if you pick up all his lab monkeys, but first you need to buy a bigger vehicle from Homer, the Mr. Plow Truck. Why you can't just use the huge Plow King you built before is really beyond me. Picking up all these monkeys is kind of amusing because of the music. It's like this big mambo jazz piece. Makes me think of dancing monkeys or something. Now can we see the giant robot? No, the last mission involves destroying the cars of cell phone users because the signal is causing trouble. Of course, this is a mission that would now be impossible to complete because everyone has a phone these days. It's fun smashing stuff up, but I had so much time left at the end, I could actually lap the entire level before getting back to Professor Frink. It would be cool if Truckosaurus was a big boss or something like that, but instead it's just a brief cutscene where Bart escapes before getting abducted by mysterious aliens. This sends us to level 3, where now we're playing as Lisa looking for her stupid brother. This level is set down by the bay, and let me tell you, many a Sunday evening was spent driving along the coast here listening to that epic jazz music. The whole level has this kind of sunset glow, which is very appealing. I feel that way about most of this game. The skies in a lot of the levels just give off a very pleasant sunny feeling, but that's just me vomiting mindless thoughts at you. Lisa drives the Malibu Stacy car, and don't even ask me what kind of toy shop sells a car like this, but it's pretty speedy for getting around and taking in the sights, like the Duff Brewery, the Boardwalk, and even Camp Krusty. I used to love jumping down the well and finding the secret tunnel. I was a simple boy. First we have to help Comic Book Guy again by driving his lousy car to pick up a rare Itchy and Scratchy comic, but since he doesn't know where Bart is, now we have to ask Milhouse, who sends you on a crazy chase across the city against the clock. This is where you start to realise that most of this entire game is against the clock. Almost everything is timed. I used to get stuck on this one quite a lot, so you know what I used to do? I'd memorise where Milhouse wanted me to go, and then I'd just walk there. Yeah, the timer doesn't start until you get into a car, so I'd walk the whole way, and then get into a car. Mission complete. That'll teach Milhouse that stupid little... let's pretend we didn't see that. Next, you get to drive our Pooh's cool car by helping him stop Cletus from getting off with all that roadkill from the previous level. Of all the plot points to link up in this game, they chose that one? This used to drive me crazy, but surprisingly, I had a fairly easy time with this one. Lisa finds out that Bart's disappearance might be connected to some mysterious black sedans driving around, and decides to investigate things the intelligent way by completely destroying them. But first you need to buy the school bus from Otto, and this is where the game really loses touch with reality.
Do you think I can use your school bus?
Oh, right. Cool.
How is a kid like Lisa supposed to drive the school bus? She wouldn't even be able to reach the pedals. It's still fun though. Lisa tells Chief Wiggum about the strange happenings, but he's too busy chasing Snake again. Now you have to help him by buying a disguise, Lisa's cool costume, which isn't really a disguise so much as a different outfit. This mission is over in seconds. Snake drives so fast, you have to react really quickly to pick up the evidence he drops, but since you're in the police car, you actually can't get a hit and run. Cheating is fun! After you pick up some fresh fish for the sea captain, you have to destroy one more sedan to figure out Bart's location. Turns out he's been hiding on top of a ship, and his mind has been completely scrambled by the aliens.
It's no use. His brain is even more broken than usual.
This seems like a good time for a bit of motherly love, so the next level has us playing as Marge, trying to figure out what happened to her boy. The only problem now is that we're back in the exact same map as the first level. I mean, it's night now, but it's still the exact same location, with the exact same gags to find, and all the levels just loop from this point. It's a shame we couldn't see some more original locations in the game. Actually, wouldn't it be great if they combined all 3 maps into one big Springfield super city? There's an idea for the sequel they want to ever make. Marge drives the Canyonero, and out of all the starter cars, I think this is my least favourite. It feels really heavy, and a bit on the clunky side to drive. However, it is very tough, which is useful for your first mission, where you have to smash a donut truck and collect all that sweet sugar for Chief Wiggum. You know, doing this just makes me hungry for donuts. Anyone remember those Simpsons donuts you could get in the shops back then? Never mind. As usual, Chief Wiggum is completely useless, so Marge asks Cletus for help instead. But he runs away, and you have to collect all the pointless trash he leaves behind, before helping him pick up some ketchup packets because... I don't even want to know. They even make you buy a whole new costume just so you can do this mission, but it's pointless, because you're just stuck inside his truck the whole time. I really hate driving this thing. Why is this game so obsessed with Cletus? Cletus thinks an old person might know something about the mysterious happenings, so after a brief race to the retirement home, Marge seeks Grandpa's advice. But he needs his pills, so now you have to go on a wild goose chase to find them. Are you starting to notice a pattern here? You follow people, you pick stuff up. You follow people, you pick stuff up. This mission really peeves me. The sedan is driving all over the place, and it's a pain to keep up with. Even worse, I had this stupid glitch where the car kept doing laps of the whole level before it would drop the final item. Ugh! So Grandpa reveals that aliens are somehow using Buzz Cola to control people's minds, which explains an awful lot about Diet Coke to me, and Marge gets down to business by putting on her police costume. Why is there a welcome mat in Bart's bedroom? Now you have to pick up all the hidden cola cans scattered around the town. Yeah, the ones people just leave floating around in mid-air. Marge then takes things a step further by destroying all the cola trucks, and by this point, you realise that Marge has some serious anger issues. Chief Wiggum chases you down at the end, but there's an easy way out of this one. Just get out of your car and run into the Simpsons house. Instant success, even if it does give the game a glitch attack. The next level has you playing as Apu, which is quite strange as he's the only playable character not part of the Simpsons family. I wonder why they singled him out. Apu has one of the best cars in the game though, and it handles like a dream. I love the dusky setting of this level too. It's especially great when you go downtown, and you get this chilled out music. Did anyone else used to park up here, climb up to the roof, stand on the edge, and just soak up the chill vibes? Yeah, that's the stuff. First, Apu has to investigate this cola truck, which, surprise surprise, drops a bunch of evidence you have to pick up. I think they were running out of mission ideas by this point. After a quick escape from the mob, Apu arrives at the hospital to check on his babies, but they need nappies, which apparently Apu can't fit into his car, so we have to buy a brand new car from Homer. Are you serious? Apu is the only one driving, just put the things on the other seat. Homer's custom-built car is pretty cool though, but instead of doing the sensible thing and buying some nappies from the shop, Apu decides to ram this car full of innocent babies and steal theirs from them. It's disturbing. After that strange detour, Apu needs to find a criminal with connections to Buzz Cola, but first he has to get a cowboy disguise? They really are just sucking coins out of you now. Again, the disguise plays no part in the mission whatsoever, but you follow Chief Wiggum and it leads you to Snake, who won't help you unless you do some community service for him. This is one of the most annoying missions in the game. First you have to follow this garbage truck that's driving completely out of control. I mean, is this guy drunk on the job or something? Then you have to pick up all these pieces of trash that are scattered throughout the whole area, and that's when you realise you have one fixed timer to do everything here. Yeah, it's not like other missions where time gets added when you complete an objective. This is one tight time limit. I didn't even have time to get my own car back, and I had to politely commandeer someone else's to make it back to Snake with just seconds to spare.
Oh, I'm totally evil.
But Snake still won't tell you anything unless you do another job for him. Now you have to help him destroy an armoured car, and it takes forever! I mean, fortunately there's no time limit, but it's just so boring. This thing is so tough, it takes tons of hits. Die! 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 Thank you. Finally, Snake reveals that the cola trucks are connected with the museum because this plot was probably made up as they went along. You find Bart and take a sweet ride to bust up the museum curator, who drops a key they used to get inside the museum. It turns out that Kang and Kodos are behind all the crazy stuff happening in town, using their WASP cameras to film Springfield as one giant reality show to boost their ratings.
The cola-madden humans will go berserk,
I like it.
destroying themselves and their town.
I guess that technically makes this whole game non-canon, since, at the time, these two only ever appeared in the Treehouse of Horror episodes. Level 6 takes us back to Bart in the Bay Area, only now instead of sunset, it has this great late-night feel to it. Bart drives this flashy faux Ferrari, which is probably my favourite car in the game. It just feels solid to drive, it's really fast, and tons of fun. But compare that with the first mission, where you have to drive Otto's sluggish school bus to pick up some kids for a tour of Krusty's studios. Why would a school trip be taking place this late at night, and why would a kid be waiting on top of a death ramp? Since Krusty is at the boardwalk promoting the evil Buzz Cola, Bart has to stop him by racing Krusty to the bay. Notice how they make you walk up to Krusty's car to start the race, and he just drives straight away from you. That's not fair! It's just a cheat device to make the race harder than it needs to be. When you win, Krusty doesn't believe Bart about the aliens, so Bart seeks professional help from Professor Frink. You have to follow him all over the place, and his driving is really erratic. For some reason he does circles around the whole level. Like, what's he doing? Taking his hover car around for a test drive? It doesn't help that his car kills the frame rate either. Frank reveals that the aliens have hidden laser guns inside the Duff trucks, so Bart has to hit the truck and collect all the lasers.
Blimey, the plot is convoluted now.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So you get the lasers, but since Krusty has already set up laser gun stands all over the bay, now you have even more to collect. This brings us to one of the most joy-filled missions in the game, Set to Kill. To even attempt this mission, first you have to buy the super villain car, and given how expensive it is, you'd think this would be a fantastic car to drive, a souped-up armoured bad boy that just knocks everything out of the way. But no, this car is made out of paper! It's too wide, it gets stuck on almost everything, and just a couple collisions is enough to destroy it. And because it's so big, it makes it really easy to hit people. Oh, and to make things even more fun, the whole boardwalk is crawling with pedestrians, so you just know they wanted you to get a hit and run here, which pretty much means instant failure. You're supposed to destroy all the laser stands in time, but this is one crazy time limit, and you can only just make it. And even if you do, they give you an even tighter time limit to make it back to Krusty's Studios. I mean, 50 seconds? Are you serious? You have to drive perfectly and take every shortcut to get there on time, and even then it's barely enough. The people who came up with this mission are sadists. I'm still in therapy for it. So, if you make it, the last mission sees Bart teaming up with Homer to race the aliens to the Duff Brewery. This race is quite tough as well. Apparently the aliens are extremely good drivers, but there is a simple solution to this one. Just drive in the opposite direction. Yeah, if you don't even bother racing the aliens and just take the back way, you can beat them easily. That's for messing with me so much in this stupid level. But somehow, even though you got there first, the aliens escape in their ship, and now they're pumping the evil cola through the water supply to make zombies rise from their graves.
Zombies eating brains? Oh, this is gonna rock!
This plot makes some of the Trios of Horror episodes seem realistic. But speaking of Halloween specials, the final level takes us back to Homer on Evergreen Terrace, only now the whole place has got a spooky makeover. There's a lot of references here to the Treehouse of Horror episodes, and instead of pedestrians, there are zombies everywhere, with ghost cars and police hearses to chase you too. The zombies even replace Milhouse Nelson and Ralph for the street races.
Brains. Thank you, I do have nice brains.
It's good fun, but the only downside is that it's only really half a level. Yeah, unlike the other levels set here, the other side of town is blocked off by barriers, so now you too can experience the frustration of playing that lousy demo. You see, to meet the release deadline, they basically had to cut the workload in half for the developers, sadly making this the smallest level in the game. The missions are pretty short too. First, Homer has to collect survival supplies for the family by stealing other people's stuff against the clock. Homer drives a 70s sports car here, which is okay, but doesn't control quite as well as Bart's car from before. When you get the supplies, you have to buy a new zombie car to follow a sedan to the power plant, but the control is awful here. It's way too fast for its own good. At the plant, you bump into Professor Frink, who has discovered that the alien's weakness is toxic waste from the power plant. Now you just have to take it to the alien spaceship in the school playground and deliver it into the tractor beam. But that's easier said than done. Yeah, this waste is extremely volatile, so the slightest crash will make it explode, forcing you to go all the way back and get more. Still, they do give you a fair amount of time to get to the spaceship, so it's certainly doable. Now you need to find more waste by asking Mr. Burns for a map, but since some other spaceship has crashed into the plant, you have to climb your way up through the wreckage. It's not exactly platforming perfection. Oh, and apparently Mr. Burns has turned his office into his own personal playground. There are trapdoors everywhere. How does he even get any work done like this? Okay, so you get the map, but the waste is in exactly the same place, so what was even the point? The mission structure is exactly the same from here. You pick up the waste and drive it to the spaceship. You pick up the waste and drive it to the spaceship. The only real difference is you drive someone else's car every time, so chalk up Professor Frink and Snake on the body count for this game. It's a shame this has to be so repetitive, but I guess the developers must have been right down to the wire for making their release date. So it all comes to a boil with the final mission, and already I can feel a heart attack coming on here. This is the mission that people who grew up playing this still have nightmares about. You team up with Grandpa and drive a souped up rocket jeep. First you have to race the aliens to the power plant, which isn't actually too bad. As long as you know the shortcuts, you can beat them just fine. But when you pick up the waste, this is where the problems begin. 1 minute to get back to the spaceship? That's insane! Last time it was 1 minute 35 seconds! This immediately sends you into a panic, where you feel like you have to drive like a crazy person to make it there on time. And the car is so fast, you're just completely out of control. So guess what happens? You crash and blow up the waist. You crash and blow up the waist. Over and over again. It drives me insane, but when you adjust to this steep learning curve and eventually make it to Evergreen Terrace, a sedan suddenly pops up and starts chasing you. It's right in the way of the shortcut too, so unless you know to dodge to the right, you'll crash straight into it. Evil game design at its finest. But then you realise, oh, I don't really have 1 minute for the whole mission, I just have 1 minute to make it to this point. Well, that might calm you down for a bit, but even once you escape the sedan, you still only get 30 seconds to reach the spaceship, which just makes you freak out even more. Oh, and have fun trying to do all that when you keep getting a hit and run, and your car is made out of a cereal box. When I got this far as a kid, my heart would be pounding. I'd be desperate to make it there on time, so naturally, you speed up. But then what happens? You drive too fast and smash into the barrier in the school playground, and by then you don't have enough time to go back and get more waste, so you have to start the entire mission all over again. That'll teach you. This mission is just diabolical. I could never get through it as a kid. It was like an impossible mountain to climb. But over the years, I've discovered a solution to this mission. A strange solution that never occurred to me before, but once I realised, it changed my entire life. Drive slow. Yeah, believe it or not, if you just drive at a fairly light speed and casually take all the shortcuts, you'll get there on time, dodge the sedan, and make it to the spaceship. Job done. If I knew that as a kid, my head would have exploded. So Homer sacrifices Grandpa to blow up the aliens, gets revered as a hero, and Kai and Kodos are sent to heaven.
Why did we go to Earth Heaven when we died?
Cue amusing credit sequence where the aliens insult the developers.
What is the difference between an associate producer and a producer anyway?
So that was the Simpsons Hit and Run, but believe it or not, it still isn't finished yet. I'm a completionist with this game, and I want 100%. Even once you've collected all the cards, beaten all the races, and smashed all those wasp cameras, you still aren't done. You need to trade all your cards with Comic Book Guy to unlock a secret movie ticket, which you can take to the theatre to watch a bonus Itchy and Scratchy cartoon. I miss little secrets like this. Now we need to get enough coins to buy all those flashy clothes and cars, but strangely, even if you crack open every box and vending machine without getting too many hit and runs, there still aren't enough coins in the game to buy everything, so there's really only one option here. Cheat! Yeah, if you zap yourself to that frustrating set to kill mission in level 6, you can find this secret area in Krusty's studio that's filled with crates and vending machines. If you only kick everything twice without actually breaking it, you can teleport to this section over and over again to grind for coins. It's tedious, but it works. But even then, I still didn't have enough coins to get everything, so it's time to cheat even more. Lucky for me, this game is packed with great cheat codes. There's one where you can blow up other cars just by ramming them, which is pretty cathartic once you've beaten the actual game. As a kid, I'd use this all the time to get coins, and you can even blow up the police too, making it sweet revenge for taking all those coins from me. There's also one cheat where if you press the horn button, the car will jump high into the air. It's completely pointless, but hours of fun. Especially when you combine it with the speedy cars cheat. Whoa, watch him go! Look at this, look at this! This is worth the full price of the game alone. He's going up, he's going up! He's going, and ladies and gentlemen, the game has left the building. I can't even, comment on this. What's going on right now? It's just pure insanity. Okay, so once I finally had enough to buy everything, that's it. 100% completion. And what do you get for your troubles? A cheap gold sticker on the guidebook. Yay! So that was The Simpsons Hit and Run, and what an experience. In some ways, it's a bit of a clunky game. Some of the cars aren't that great to drive, a lot of the missions can be frustrating, and it definitely suffered from a rushed development cycle towards the end. It's repetitive, derivative of other popular games, and sometimes it can be a glitchy mess. But even despite all that, it's still full of personality, and in some ways, all those flaws are part of the charm now. This is one of those games with an addictive quality. Even when I mess up, I always want to try again, and it just keeps me coming back for more. Many of the levels have an appealing emotional vibe to them, and coupled with an amazing soundtrack, it just takes you straight back to that time. I put hours into this game as a kid, and back then, it felt like it took forever to do everything. Even playing it now, there's still a ton of content. So how can I really complain that much? Compared to some of those other Simpsons games, this is a very authentic recreation of one of my all-time favourite shows. It's still great fun to run around smashing up those wasps and collecting as many coins as you can before taking on a street race or two, and then maybe just parking up to reflect on all the time you've spent with the game. And even after 20 years of owning it, this game is still a hit, and I don't see myself ever wanting to run from it. Thanks for watching, and look out for more reviews coming soon.